Two reasons why a man leaves his wife or files for divorce. Number one is another woman pushing him to do it, okay? Or number
The justifications for why a man leaves his significant other or petition for legal separation. Number one is another lady pushing him to do it. Or number two is something genuine fouling, yet for me dim meat as an afterthought white, keeps me mean and lean. You realize that is the reason I'm hitched. I went down. I realize I know, thank you, right, thank you, and I likewise know. And you win. Tamar Braxton and Jeannie used to co-have on the genuine, and presently it appears to be that the circumstance with Jeannie Mai's separation has become progressively mind-boggling. Tamara, as of late, recommended that Jenny would play had an influence in the separation, assuming that you thought the circumstance was at that point muddled. It's going to get much more multifaceted. To add to the show, youthful Jeezy petitioned for legal separation from Virginia after a heartfelt contribution with Mario Lopez. For the people who haven't been keeping up this continuous, Jeannie Mai and Jeezy, separate from adventure, has veered off in a strange direction. What at first appeared to be a regular VIP separation has transformed into a crazy thrill ride of occasions that nobody's all there is to. It's all approaching. So what's the entire story behind this adventure? We should plunge into the subtleties in the present video. Obviously, before I spill anything, ensure first that you buy into our channel and hit that notice chime for additional updates and recordings like this. Currently, we should make a plunge. Last week, Jeezy amazed everybody with a startling choice to separate from Jeannie. What made it astonishing was the shortfall of any earlier clues or media reports about inconvenience in their relationship. It seemed like an abrupt and unforeseen disclosure. Anyway, here's the curve. At first we expected that maybe they had a few undisclosed conjugal issues, deciding to keep their concerns hidden, yet the circumstance went off in a significantly more unexpected direction. Incidentally, Jeannie had no earlier information on the separation procedures. Yes, you heard that right. She had been transparently communicating her adoration for Jeezy via virtual entertainment. When Jeezy surprised her with the legal documents, the following thing she realized: she was presented with legally binding notes. So at last 60 with have Mario Lopez. So what I do, I go find it. So it said unequivocal pictures. While it's to be expected to expect some degree of show in VIP separates from this one, stands apart as especially uncommon. Only days before he sought legal separation, she posted a sweet Instagram message saluting him on the progress of his most recent book. He answered by saying, "Today, I commend a striking achievement accomplished by my better half. I'm unendingly appreciative for your voice in this world, and respected to remain by you my affection, since plainly you can motivate individuals through the force of narrating." Jeezy, whose diary difficulty available to be purchased, has ascended to the highest point of the New York Times blockbuster list, is surely exhibiting his scholarly abilities, as well as his prosperity as a writer. Anyway, assuming that you thought this was the most astounding piece of the story, there's something else entirely to it. Has become exposed that Jeezy kept his arrangements to separate from Jeannie confidential for quite some time, leaving Jeannie totally ignorant about the looming divorce. She couldn't ever have composed that ardent post assuming she had realized he was wanting to cut off their friendship. Jeezy conveyed this information on the approaching separation for a strong 3 months, while keeping up with the exterior of being the ideal husband and father. Incredibly, he had truly documented those legal documents back in June, and had them generally marked and legally approved around then. It's really exceptional the way that he figured out how to save up this represent such an extensive stretch without giving any clues. This disclosure justifiably rankled many fans, as they saw Jeezy as the main bad guy in this story. It's unmistakable why he basically constrained Jeannie into undermining her very own convictions to accommodate his vision of the ideal mate. Dealt with our timing, so we invested energy. After our drawn-out connections, we both came from 10-year related, and we truly dealt with ourselves to truly comprehend what sound Jeannie had been open about her craving to keep away from marriage. and having kids even before she started dating Jeezy anyway. Her viewpoint changed radically after they got together, and she accepted they were intended to be the two of them came from 10-year connections and being in their 40s. They felt that their timing was directed by a higher ability to chip away at themselves and comprehend what sound love implied. After their drawn-out connections finished, Jeezy additionally impacted Jeannie to roll out huge improvements in her day-to-day existence plans they got. Hitched in after a year after she brought forth their little girl Monica, some reprimanded Jeezy for constraining Jeannie into modifying her whole character and desires before suddenly finishing their marriage, leaving her as a single parent. Yet here's a fascinating advancement. There may be more going on than we at first suspected. Reports have surfaced proposing that Jeezy petitioned for legal separation in the wake of finding charges that Jeannie was associated with a close connection with. In all honesty, her co-have Mario Lopez individuals have been addressing why Jeezy would shock Jeannie in such a way, as it tends to be viewed as an unpleasant demonstration anyway. It appears to be that he might have had a rationale behind his activities. With these deceiving claims circling, it begins to check out why Jeezy might have picked this apparently brutal way. Apparently he needed to look for a few type of retaliation against Jeannie, and perhaps even humiliate her in the process. He advances from seeming rash to a man looking for a type of retribution. Bits of hearsay in regards to Jeannie and Mario having a more than proficient relationship immediately flowed via web-based entertainment. While not totally shocking given the well-established discuss their evident science, even before fresh insight about this separation surfaced, there had been past gossipy tidbits about coy associations between them that left fans estimating about a possibly closer association. A glad Vietnamese young lady. We're both original. I will have her attach me with some Vietnamese. We should consider how they couldn't keep their hands off one another in specific occurrences. I'm mindful that Jeannie herself has referenced her inclination for dating white men over people of color, and her affection for dull eyes. These comments could cause a stir, yet they really do line up with the view of certain fans who've noticed the coy elements among her and Mario. What do you honestly think about this present circumstance? The way that Mario had a nearby private relationship with Jeannie's family, including Jeezy, adds a significantly more curious aspect to the circumstance. Might it at some point imply that Mario was furtively engaged with Jeannie while she was still with her significant other and kid? In the event that that were the case, it would unquestionably cause what is going on to show up much more convoluted, particularly considering he even kissed the child. This entire situation is very baffling. Is the show arriving at Kardashian levels? Yet clutch your seats, since it gets much seriously captivating. An insider uncovered to diversion this evening that the separation among Jeezy and Jeannie Mai could have an alternate fundamental reason. As per this insider, the approaching separation is credited to their varying points of view and unfulfilled assumptions. Assuming this for sure is the case, it's a takeoff from treachery, and it leaves individuals hypothesizing, assuming Jeannie and her PR group are attempting to deal with the circumstance and its public discernment, considering the bamboozling claims, which without a doubt essentially affected her public picture. It wouldn't be amazing, assuming they were endeavoring to dispel any confusion anyway. There's something else to examine in regards to this enigmatic message, which energizes zeroing in on self-improvement, and the individuals who supported Jeezy appears to hold major areas of strength for Honda sentiments towards Jeannie, not set in stone to fight back by astounding her with a surprising separation, further powering the debate. Previous co-host of Jennie's show on The Genuine, Tamar Braxton, chose to share her viewpoint on the separation circumstance and recommended that Jeannie could bear some liability. It's not totally startling that tomorrow would point fingers at Jeannie, since how about we be straightforward, these two never had an amicable relationship. They didn't conceal their aversion for one another when they cooperated, and they frequently had conflicts Tamar didn't keep down. when she straightforwardly communicated her aversion for Jeannie, and her straightforwardness is something a few fans miss for me. Dim meat as an afterthought white keeps me mean and lean, you realize. That is the reason I'm hitched white man that is appropriate. For example, when Jeannie made her dubious white meat, dim meat comment on the show saying she favored dark guys, Tamar made it a point to her conflict with Jenny's viewpoint. To be fair, Tamar wasn't the one in particular who censured her for this explanation, which drove her to apologize for her comments that some found hostile in a new episode of Tamar's new show on Dish Country. The subject of Jenny's separation came up and Tamar shared her contemplations. She said, "When you all petition for legal separation, it's over definitely on the grounds that normally folks don't. It's actually quite important that Tamar has likewise been blamed for offering